Welcome into the Cheeley Law Review. My name is Ben Burnett, and my guest today is Bob Cheeley himself. Bob, how are you doing?
Doing great. Thanks, Ben.
I want to talk to you about what makes a good client for the Cheeley Law Group.
First of all, we're not a volume law firm. We don't handle any and every case that comes through the door. We're pretty selective. We only take serious cases where serious harm has been done. We're either several different categories: tractor-trailer collision cases, wrongful death, personal injury, catastrophic injury cases, and then business cases involving fraud and breach of fiduciary duties, where significant damages are involved.
When a client is involved in one of those situations, what are some of the first steps they should take when considering putting their life into a legal situation?
They need to interview the attorney, and they need to ask questions like, tell me your track record. How long have you been doing this? What are your results? Are you a trial lawyer, or are you a advertising type lawyer that just gets cases in and settles them as quickly as you can for whatever you can get? We are a firm that maximizes the value of every case that we take, because that's in the best interest of the client, is to maximize the value of the case for that client and not seeking to generate income for ourselves as quickly as we can after taking a case.
One of the things that I have learned as I've recorded this series with your firm is that an outcome or a verdict may take years from the first time that you sit down. What would you want the average person to know when they look at some sort of personal injury, wrongful death, business torts case with regards to the length of what they are ultimately signing up for?
Well, depending upon the facts of each case, each one is different. We try to set realistic expectations. We don't want them to think that this is going to be something that can be resolved, in 30 days, because that hardly ever happens. Sometimes these cases can get resolved within a few months, primarily based upon the fact that major insurance companies and law firms that represent those companies know that we are a firm that will take them to court and will take them to the mat and to maximize the value of the case, so they can either pay us now or pay us later. We've had cases that we just resolved, for example, that we've only had pending hadn't even filed the case yet, a lawsuit. That we had a case up in Tennessee for a major injury involving a tractor-trailer collision and injury. That case settled within 90 days of us notifying the insurance company that we were involved, and so they paid the policy limits, and our client's happy. Didn't think it was going to be settled that quickly. So it all depends on the facts of each case, and some cases will take 2 or 3 years to get them to trial. That's a function of how many cases are ahead of it assigned to a particular court or a particular judge.
When you evaluate court systems, judges, things like that, how far down the process does that go once a client comes to where you know where that case is ultimately going to end up and with what judge? And does that alter the way that you and your firm approach doing business on a daily basis?
Well, I always tell the clients that the most important factor in any case is the judge. Who's the judge, and what is the history of that judge? Believe it or not, some judges are crooked and they will not follow the law. They're not fair. So we try to avoid filing cases. I'm speaking primarily about one particular judge out of state that we've had an experience with. 99.9% of the judges, though, are fair. So you can't always select which judge you're going to wind up with. It's randomly assigned, particularly if it's in a bigger city like Atlanta. Fulton County has several judges, and it's assigned by a rotating wheel assignment system using a computer. I love all the judges in Fulton County, and they're fair, and we know we'll get a fair trial with them.
What are some of the things that separate the Cheeley Law Group from everybody else with respect to the evaluation process of choosing your legal representation?
Well, one of the things that we want to make each client understand while they are meeting with us on the very first meeting is that how much we do care about them, and that we take seriously our representation, that we will keep them apprised of everything that goes on in the case. We help them to understand on the front end what needs to be proven. I always tell the prospective clients that cases, civil cases, are like a three-legged stool. The three legs of the stool that we have to prove for them to be able to win. The first leg of the stool is negligence, which is basically a duty owed to someone else and a duty breached. So that's basically what negligence is. It's what would an ordinary reasonable person have done under the same or similar circumstances. If it's a violation of a traffic law or a generally accepted manner of dealing with people in a fair way, then that's the first element, which is establishing negligence. Second leg of the stool is what's called proximate cause or causation. In other words, that the negligence of the defendant was the cause or the proximate cause of the injuries to the plaintiff. And then the third leg of the stool is damages. And what are the damages? Is it a permanent physical injury? Most of the cases, in fact, about all the cases that we take, involve catastrophic injuries, so it's pretty evident that they're permanent. So those three things are the things we have to prove. We let the clients know that we very much value our relationship with them. And I've had cases where clients who lost a daughter, for example, in a tractor-trailer wreck, interviewed another firm. They told me that I was the second one that they interviewed, and the first firm that they interviewed, the lawyer sat there and all he had to talk about was himself and boast about, his track record. Didn't show any interest in their daughter. And so when I met with the clients, they told me that really resonated with them, that I showed genuine interest in their daughter and their loss of their daughter. I just think that it starts with a kind heart is really what it boils down to. Some lawyers are in it, for the glory and for the money, and I'm in it because I feel it's a calling, represent people that are at the lowest point of their lives.
This has been another episode of the Cheeley Law Review. We'll see you guys next time.